games, Fixer, Iron Grid.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we welcome you to not Season 4 anymore, but it's Season 5 coming up here, and the rules have changed. So let's take a look at those rules real quick as we introduce our two teams. First team to play here on the blue side, that'll start us off, is Firefly, and the second team here on the red side is W+M1, and this is the semi-pro division. So let's talk about the rule changes for a second. First off, by the way, new map rules, so there is no pick and ban. It is a new set map, and our first set map here is Oasis. So, yeah, a new rule change is coming in, and Season 5 is bound to be exciting and bound to bring more excitement than Season 4. Let's go ahead and introduce our team here. Production is Maui from Havoc as well as Toadette, but joining me here in the caster's call as my color is Bryce T. What's up, my man?
I am good. I am excited for this brand new season of Overwatch. You know, you said the rules have changed, but the game has stayed the same. I am so excited to see both these teams and see what they can come out with at the beginning of the Season 5.
And this is a brand new division for Season 5 as well, because now we're in the semi-pro division. And these guys, again, semi-pro, very huge teams. A lot of teams in the semi-pro division now. I believe there's 16 teams with 4 divisions. So this is going to be very interesting to watch now, because I don't believe either of us, unless you have before, I've never seen these teams play before, and as well as against each other. What about you?
I actually have had the pleasure of playing with Iron Crit. He was on the All-for-One All-Stars team that won Season 4. Just a little toot our own horn there. Walked away with the All-Stars championship there. But other than that, really no experience with any of the players on this team, on either side, actually.
And so we're gonna get our first look here, first game of Season 5 here, and it is Oasis to start off our first map choice, and basically an entirely new scoring system, so these teams want to win as many maps and as many rounds as possible here. Control map to start us off here on Oasis, and you can already see W+M1, this very high skill level game, already pushing up in each other, and it's just a push and shove at this point. And already, I think Otto just landed a rocket off onto the tunnel, and that's going to knock him off the map entirely. So again, a little bit of a push and shove right now, and you can tell these teams are very high skilled because it's just a push and shove on the point at this point.
Yeah, you know, no clear winner at the moment, but hey, Ada with the double kill right there.
Ada with the double kill does force Firefly off the point, so W+M1 does get the first strike on the point, and it's looking good for them so far. But again, you never know with these kinds of games. It is the semi-pro division, so at any point, anything can happen right now because these teams really good against semi-pro division, top-tier teams in the OTC community, and this could go anywhere.
Exactly. You know, as you've been saying, you know, this is pretty much the best that OTC can offer in terms of skill-wise. So it's really going to come down to which team can work together the best.
So 30% on the point right now. You're going to see 2 ults coming up here for W+M1. Coming into the next team fight, you're gonna have a Pulse Bomb as well as a Rocket Barrage if Auto stays alive here. In the meantime, Max Dimencio also has that attack visor, which can be super deadly at times if it's played well. Now the Rocket Barrage is gonna come out in the background, but Max Dimencio is gonna end that right away. Self-destruct is gonna come out. That's not gonna come out. Attack visor not gonna come out in the process, but Valvera's gonna drop just in time for an Eskimo, and that's going to help out W+M1 stay alive. So just over half the point right now. Hanji goes down by the hands of Fantasy. So that should be almost pretty much a reset on Firefly's part, and they gotta find an answer and find it fast here on the Gardens.
Yeah, and it seems like so far in this round, Fireflies have just been playing catch-up with what WM1 has been throwing out at them. They've been only really able to just react, and even then, they haven't been able to react, you know, effectively, because as we're just 80% for W+M1, so it's really going to come down to what Firefly can push with this. They really only have Sound Barrier. Oh, they both have support ults and Primal Rage, so it's really going to come down to those ults building up the rest of them.
And so now we're going to see here Firefly finally getting on the point a lot here. 3 people on the point. They're going to flip the point just in time before anybody from W+M1 takes that over. So they're at 92% though. So really, if you're Firefly, no time, no mistakes at this point. Because right now, if W+M1 takes us over, they pretty much have the point. Self-destruct going to come in. Does get Praxis in the background. So right now playing a 4-on-5 in favor of Firefly so far. Still capturing the pointer. Hanji going off on this. Winston though gets a double kill, and that should help out Firefly take over this point. And right now, Firefly's got themselves first good defensive hold on the point.
And it was a really smart play by Hanji there. Even though he didn't have his D.Va up to help support him through those pushes, he jumped up to the high ground, popped his ult, knocked the only remnants of the team that was up there on WM1 side, and really threw their backline into sort of a haze, and then went straight for their healers again. But now we see WM1 crashing the point and taking the high ground once again.
High ground battle once again, and this was the last time this happened. It was in W+M1's favor. Attack Visor is also going to come out from Max Dimension, also losing health up, but right now it is in favor of Firefly winning the battle in a 3-1 trade. Self-destruct is going to come up on top, and that is not going to help out anybody for Brienne, but it's still going to push out W+M1 from the point. So right now, Firefly looking very impressive on the defensive end, holding on to 2 ults, which is Transcendence, also getting a third one from Hanji with that Primal Rage and Brigitte ult rally, but take a look at W+M1 because this could change at any moment. 3 ults for them as well as the self-destruct. Sorry, that was the mech coming up here. Fixer has that Primal Rage as well as Auto with that Rocket Rush, so basically anything can happen here. This may as well be the final fight.
Yeah, you're seeing Fantasy switch to the McCree off of the Tracer, so maybe he's going to try and farm that Deadeye to help his team out a little bit more.
Rally to my position.
So a little bit of a spread out thing for W+M1 to start here. 2 tanks to start, but they are already capturing point. That's the flip, and really nobody paying attention to the point from Firefly. Self-destruct is going to go way in the background, not really going to get anybody there. Now the Rocket Barrage comes out. Primal Rage is also coming out from both sides, and both Winston's getting a kill in their feature. But right now it's still a 4-on-2 on the point, as you can see right now. Firefly having the man advantage. Still looking for some kills here, so the final fight here, pretty much overtime is happening. And another res coming up here for alley-oops, which means Fixer's back in the game. Still looking for some kills, though, but right now it's going in favor of W+M1.
Ooh, Ada!
Auto with the kill on Susano, that's huge. But still, Firefly coming back just a little bit here. 3-on-2 on point right now, 4-on-2. Overtime's going to tick down, and it's back up. Any mistakes right here, and it's clear. And W+M1 clears the point just in time before Hanji gets there. And that will do it 190% to start us off a very exciting first round here on Oasis. And the Gardens is taken over by W+M1.
That was a really strong counter push by W+M1. They went straight for the high ground. They knew exactly where they needed to go and exactly where they needed to hold in order to throw Firefly into sort of a loop. They weren't really able to, as I've been said before, they've been reacting to W+M1, but then even in some certain situations, they've really just been thrown in through a loop, and especially when they split up and Hanji dove straight for Fantasy on that McCree, it really left the rest of his team without that main tank. And once W+M1 jumped in and dove their entire line, really kind of left them without much of a response.
And so now Firefly needs to respond here because now they're down 1-0 here. And it's hard in control maps. It's really hard to play catch up because once the team wins a round, they usually have the momentum going into the next map. So if you're Firefly, what do you have to do to try and take this over?
I mean, you definitely have to go. You definitely have to take out Fantasy and Uda, because those 2 DPS players are just phenomenal. You've seen the amount of play that they've Fixture taking out a kill, but the amount of play that they see is just an insane amount.
Right now, two to do trade to start us off here. Nobody really getting on the point, and there we go. Finally, people dropping that for that upper edge, getting to the point now. As we're going to see a 3-on-3 on the point as of right now. Firefly just trying to get this point under control because they didn't have the first strike last time. Ironcrit's going to get DMX by the hands of Max Dimension, and that should be it. So the point is going to be taken over by Firefly to start us off here on the City Center.
You know, it was a really good push by Firefly. They took out both, the DPS line on W+M1 side, and then taking out alley-oops really just left their team without much of a leg to stand on. But now they're in a good position. They have the high ground, they have 2 tank ults, and they're close to both of their support ults. If Praxis and Corey can build up those quick enough. But it seems like W+M1's throwing in this, nothing, but trying to take the high ground back from Firefly.
Brienne's going to respond with their own self-destruct there. Otta's going to come in with a rocket barrage. Praxis there, standing but not before Otta takes down Max Dimension. So DPS going for DPS there. And still, it looks like the only one left to go here is Ali Oops, who's going to go down with that Mercy. So really another good defensive hold by Firefly. And if you're them right now, this is a really good defensive hold for you. But don't count them out yet because W+M1 also had that good flip back when they had 90% of the points to win that round.
Exactly. You know, as you said earlier, it all comes down to momentum. Right now, Firefly has that momentum. They have the positioning. They have, what seems to be the communication because they seem to be able to dive and focus on targets a lot more effectively than W+M1 at the moment. But that is very subject to change right here.
And here we go. Primal Rage also going to come out here from Fixer. Halfway down in its ult, but the sound barrier drops. Hanji's going to take down Alley Oops with that Primal Rage as well. And now the Deadeye from Fantasy comes out as well. Oh, Brianne's going to block a little bit of damage. Smart play there, protecting his team, or protecting the team from any damage there. Fantasy also going to take down Brienne, punishing them for taking him out. Taking out that Deadeye. Susano coming out with this Brigida, gets a double kill, triple kill might I add on Iron Crit as well. And that's going to help the team with Firefly come out and defend this point all the way. And Hanji is just going to end that fight right there, taking out Fantasy. So right now, Firefly looking good. 95%. Somebody's got to get on this point, and unless W+M1's willing to take this down, it's pretty much over. And Lucio going to come in right at the last second here. That's going to come in from an Eskimo, so they're just trying to play dive at this point. Fantasy switches on over to the Tracer. And still looking good for Firefly right now. Samir is going to drop from Corey KX. And now, self-destruction going to come in the background. Susano there to block him. The shield does go down. That's still looking good for the team from Firefly right now. Clearing out the point. The last one to go is from Otta. And that is going to be it. Ooh. We have a tie game here on the City Centers. It's 1-1. Here, a full hold for Firefly.
Firefly, they're in a good position now. We feel like we just said it, and we did, but momentum, it comes down to that, especially at this high-level play. It was sort of swinging back and forth on the first point, but, it solidified itself in Firefly's favor as the second that upswing came up and they took the position, or they took the point, and they held it the entire time. They have that momentum, and all they have to do is just continue to build off of that and not slow down and not get stuck along the way, especially with the comps that we're running. We're seeing a 3-3 on both sides, actually, which, very interesting, and, comment on this point, especially at this high-level play, and it's just going to come down to, tanks comboing together as well as their healers being able to stay alive and their tanks protecting them. So it's going to be, really interesting to see, what the teams are bringing out for here and how Firefly can hold the point if they are able to.
And University is switching up a lot of team comps. You're going to see Otto. We saw the Pharaoh before in the first few maps, and now a little bit of more of a close pace is going to choose the Junkrat, which may be a different pick. But Fantasy also going to go on to the Zarya as well. So a little bit of a switch up here if you're the entire team right now, because you only have one DPS if you're W+M1 right now. And that's Otto coming into this case already clearing out the point. And Max Dimension also switching on over from that soldier we saw before, now on the Zarya. So DPS switching on over to tanks, but right now what's in favor of Firefly is they get the first strike on the point.
That was a beautiful pin by Hanji, but was, immediately, the revenge was taken by Fixer. He was fixing the damage that Hanji had left on his team. But now both Ryans have their ults, and almost both, Susano almost has the rally, so it's really gonna come down to who's going to be able to combo ults together, if they're going to be able to at all, or if these are just going to be ults to get 1 or 2 kills. As the Riptide comes from the high grounds.
That's going to come up high. Max knows where it is, tries to get rid of it. Still walking around, but it finally runs out of time. Brianne's going to take down that Riptire from Otto, but still clears out the point a little bit, so W+M1 has about a third of that tick to take over the point, and still looking for a few good clips here from W+M1. Brianne, the only one on the point right now, and it's probably going to go down right here as the hands. The only one left to go is Corey Thayers, who's just going to run off the point back to his team, and that'll be the flip for W+M1 with 52% of the point.
You know, that was that. Hanji was sort of left in an unfortunate position there. He earth shattered, but Fixer still had his shield up, and you know, no one was really there to help break that shield down, and so that all just kind of just wasted. Didn't really grab anybody, but we're both seeing both. Sorry, one is popped already on W+M1 side.
That's going to be the Graviton Surge coming out as well, and that's going to be W+M1 getting a triple kill courtesy of the Graviton Surge from Fantasy. And Brianne's just going to kill himself. Kill themselves. So right now it is a good hold for W+M1. Probably going to catch up with the percentage at this point. 52% taken over by Firefly, but right now W+M1 with the momentum. Here comes the Graviton Surge as well. That's the entire team there. Plus finish the follow-up as Sub Area drops here from Sub Area's going to drop here from Iron Crate. Self-destruct in the background, not going to get anybody. Earth Shatter also gets 4 people in the background. Here comes in with the triple kill with the Riptire. Santa Maria. What a play from Otto on that Riptire. And what a play. That is confusion all over the place. But Otto ends the confusion with a triple Riptire kill. And already W+M1 comes out with a victory in that team fight.
Especially, their entire team is on fire right now. If the momentum isn't in their favor, I don't know what is.
So we'll see again, 4 out of 6 players right now on fire from that last fight. So Firefly's really going to respond here. And in the final 25% of this point, you see no ults coming from Firefly, actually on either side really. So it's up to the team right here. Firefly's got to play this smart.
And you're seeing Max switching to the Hanzo when we still have Braid on the Zarya. So we might be seeing a Dragon Surge if they can hold out for the next 12%. But being stuck at the choker where they are, Fantasy knocking down Braid, they're not really in the position to be able to counter that.
Right now, W+M1 has all the momentum. Nobody on the point to contest. The only one left there is Susano with this shower coming in. Needs to drop down to get up to the point, though, and he's not going to do so in time. Oh, there we go. Now drops down in time, but is that enough? Graviton Surge to hold. What a play. And Brianne's not going to be able to get there in time, which means W+M1 has the first point here on Season 5. They win Oasis 2-1.
Oh, you know, we've been mentioning momentum a lot, and they definitely brought that momentum and stole it back from Firefly, especially Fixer on W+M1 side. Phenomenal play by both Ryans, but Fixer was definitely countering Hanji a lot more. Triple
kill. Surprisingly not the Riptire play, but really Fixer, as you said earlier, going off with the tanks and the healers. Fixer coming out big for the team from W+M1, really helping out their game there, especially shielding a lot of damage as well as doing a lot of damage. And if you're a Reinhardt, for Fixer, you got to be happy about that game for WM1.
By far, and you know, even the rest of W+M1 has to be excited about that. You know, they sort of contested the first round, and I mean, unquestionably were just shut out of the second point. That third point, Fireflies were kind of coming back in with the sort of the aggressive push to hold that point, and they managed to hold it for 50%. But W+M1 came in, they sort of fixed. They didn't really need to switch their comp around all too much, and it really came down to Fireflies not really switching up until it was a little bit too late, because you had you had Max switching to the Hanzo. A smart choice, especially if you're running against the Zarya, especially with this season 10 and 11 meta, a Hanzo and a Zarya, really popular picks on both sides. And they really weren't in the position to, I mean, Hanzo can build his ult up quick enough, but just the amount of shields and, damage shutdown that W+M1 had on their side, Fantasy on the Zarya, Fixer on the Rhine, those are two really, smart tank players that were doing a lot to shield all of the damage that their team was taking, and was really leaving heroes like Hanzo or Soldier in sort of an awkward spot because they weren't really able to capitalize on any of the damage through their shields. And Susano switching to the Far was a smart choice because W+M1 didn't really have a response to it. But again, it was just a bit of a late pick, and really left Fireflies kind of grasping for the momentum, and weren't really able to capitalize on any of it.
Right, so now now we're going into this new system. Let's talk about the new system here for a second for Season 5, because it's no longer a pick and ban system, which I think is really interesting if you're the rest of the teams, because this is kind of like turning into Overwatch League, where you're playing all 4 or 5 maps, right? Now
exactly.
you're going into Season 5, 3 maps to play. The next map coming up here is Route 66, and now it's a point system basically. So I believe if Firefly in a 2-1 game, Firefly gets 1 point out of that, and I believe W+M1 gets 1 point out of that because they lost the second map on the city center, and then Firefly a -1 right now. But I mean, a really good point system to determine who gets the advantage here going into the playoffs. But it's huge because this is where we start off in Season 5, and in the semi-pro division. If this is what we're expecting, this is going to be a good Season 5.
Oh, hands down. And
I mean,
go on, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, especially with having a map pool, I'm a big fan of that, because as much as I love to see, the popular maps, the popular picks, the King's Rows, the Ilioses, and all of those, hands down, 9 times out of 10, that's what teams are going to pick. I do like the idea, especially as a player in this league, that you're not going to be able to only pick or ban the maps that you like or the maps that you don't like. You have to be a more well-rounded team. It comes down to communication instead of just being able to post up in the same spots every single time. It requires the teams to be a little more fluid in the plays that they're putting out. And it also just makes casting and watching these games a little bit more fun, because you're not going to be seeing the same things all over and over again. You're not going to be seeing a Deathball team pushing through the choke on Volskaya 6 times in a row. You might be seeing something slightly different. You might be seeing more off-meta picks coming out, because teams aren't exactly well-versed and have the best knowledge in some of these maps, even though because the system that we had before, sort of rewarded that, because you only have to pick 2 or 3 maps that you like, and then you'll never have to play the other ones, because you'll be able to ban them or just choose a different map.
Right, and you're going to see, and yes, I completely agree with you on the map pool. Well, I mean, the biggest thing I think is the expansion of the overtime community, because we have so many more teams that are coming up here in the games as we prepare to attack here. I believe W+M1 is going to have the first attack, but it's going to be a huge season because we have more teams that are coming in, and I'm really excited about this because you got an expansion on the teams and you got so much more to watch, and we'll be streaming a lot more, so it's going to be very, very exciting to watch too.
Exactly. As a caster, I'm thrilled.
And all right, so here we go with the first attack here for W+M1 here on Route 66 to start us off on our second map, the escort map, which was pre-chosen, of course. So W+M1's going to round the corner here, get into the right in front of the station of Big Earl so far, but not really anything happening. Max Dementia is going to get the pick on Fantasy to start us off here, but Alioup's going to go ahead and res him. But right now, Max Dementia looking good with this Widow battle, winning that fight to start us off. So it's going to be Firefly that's winning the defensive battle so far as they back up around the corner, not really moving the payload as of right now. And again, Max Dementia coming out with his Widowmaker, making some good picks to start us off. And again, and Eskimo can't get res either because Alioup's used that on Fantasy to start, so they're going to lose a healer to start us off. But right now, Fantasy just avenges his healer, and Susano. We have a sniper battle going on here, folks, because you have Susano taking out Fantasy after Fantasy takes down, and Max Dementia takes down Oda. We have a sniper battle going on here, and this is going to be fun.
Max Dementia with a double kill, though, so it's coming down to which sniper is going to get the kill quick first.
So it's just going to be a battle of the snipers, but Brienne trying to squeeze their way in there to get into this fight, gets a double kill, and again, Firefly with another good defensive hold, so a minute and a half melted off the clock right now. And if you're WM1, even though you had the momentum from the last game, it looks like Firefly's finally found the answer right now, as he come up with 5 ultimates coming up for Firefly's next fight, and only 2 on W+M1 side.
Yeah, Ironcrit has that Graviton surge, but Eda doesn't. 60% on that Hanzo ult. It's kind of a slow build, especially since on the opposite side, Susano already has that. But Infrared popped at the beginning of this fight already, as well as a self-destruct.
So self-destruct coming out, not really going to get anybody for Brienne. And so again, Sniper's winning the battle here for Firefly. Dragon Strike going to come right down the middle in that cave, not going to really get anybody. Actually, Susano does get an Eskimo. My apologies there for not reading that correctly. But again, Firefly with another good defensive hold. And kudos to them for really sticking really have good discipline with that because they also save up the Valkyrie as well as the power booster from Hanji. And Praxis is also going to have that whole hog coming in. But take a look at W+M1 side. They have the ult advantage coming up with that Dragon Strike Graviton Surge combo. And if they need a backup as well, they have that Earth Shatter from Fixer coming up as well.
Especially now that Fantasy just about has his infrared sight, it's really going to be down to him to just build that up quickly, pop it, and then it'll put Ironcrit and Ada in a good position. Already right there, putting Ada and Ironcrit in position.
Graviton Surge coming in. There's the Dragon Strike. There's one. There's two. Oda's getting a 3, 4. The team next. Unbelievable. What a play from Oda. Unbelievable play from him. That's going to cause the entire team to go down. Max Dimension, the only one left on there. Fantasy's going to have the sniper battle up, but it's not going to matter. The payload keeps moving. Fantasy wins the battle there. And finally, the payload moves with just under a minute left to go. 3.5 on the clock. W+M1 has the payload moving.
And again, they're still in a good position. They have both their support ults, and Fixer has that Earth Shatter. So they're in a good position compared to where they only have a Valk and a Turbocharge to play against. But they're already holding up pretty far up onto this this second point, leaving Firefly kind of scattered while they're already holding just under that bridge.
Susano gets the pick off on Oda to start this team fight already, and I don't know if Alley-Oops is there to res. But Fantasy, again, this is pretty much a sniper battle. It's Corey Theax is right there to res Max Dimension. But again, this is pretty much a sniper battle at this point because you can see the two snipers really affecting how these two teams play. And so, again, Oda and Fantasy on one side from W+M1, and then Susano as well as Max Dimension. And this is just a back and forth shove at this point with the two snipers.
Yeah, you know, it's really favoring. It's favoring the team that can get the first pick because worst case scenario, you throw your other team is using up their res. Best case scenario, you're leaving them open for you to push through and break through the defense. Ooh, but Hanji knocked down as he was trying to get that. Oh, Ironcrit, please.
Self-destruct coming in here for the team for Brienne, and that's going to get Ironcrit in the process, but not before Oda has anything to say about it. Gets a double kill to start us off, so W+M1 really pushing this payload up further and further. And so really nobody from Firefly really defending the point. The only two left are going to be Brienne and Praxis. Praxis is going to use the whole hog. Dragon Strike going to come right down the middle. Oda's going to push Praxis off as well as Fixer take it out as well. So Praxis, we saw him on the Zenyatta before, but Praxis moving on over to the whole hog of Roadhog, and this is what's helping out the team, and W+M1 is going to have to back up and reset.
You know, Praxis really showing up here. He had a really nice flanking hook on Alley-Oops earlier in this match. Wasn't really able to capitalize on it, but it's definitely something that's interesting to see is a flanking Roadhog. Oh, but he is in a bad position right there.
Oh, he's pushing up all the way there, and let's keep this in mind too. Firefly only has one healer, and this is Corey Thick. And here comes here comes Susano trying to get that Dragon Strike through. Oda is taken down. Fantasy also takes down Max Dimension, so a little bit of a mirror battle going on right there, 1-for-1 trade to start off, but it's still looking good in favor of Firefly because right now, if you're them, you're holding on to this point so far. W+M1 though, looking for a good push as Ironcrit comes up with a double kill. And that is going to allow this payload to move up even further. Don't know if Hanji's going to stick around. Fixer's going to take him down, though. So again, another good... So this is going to be a good attack for W+M1. But again, time melted off the clock. 45 seconds left to go. And this is going to be an even harder point to take if you're the third point right now. Because that stretch... Oh, actually, my apologies right there. Because Firefly is going to come in and try and defend this point as long as possible. Try and melt off some more clock. So do you think that's a good strategy to try and hold off some more time?
I mean, we've seen them do it before. Praxis was able to almost hold that point all by himself. And it looks like at the moment, the momentum is in Firefly's hand. Oh, but that Earth Shatter was not good for them.
Earth Shatter being used, but still Praxis off with that whole hog. He's going to take down Fixer, and still going to go for the Mercy here in the background from Alley-Oops. And right now, still a good defensive pull by Firefly because still not on that point. 3 seconds left. The only one left to go there is Ironcrit to defend the point. Dragon Strike going to be used. Don't know where that came from or if that was eaten in some cases there. I think Otto was the one to try and use that, but I don't think that Dragon Strike came out anywhere. And so still battling on the point. A 4v3 on the point right now. Transcendent. There comes the Graviton Surge coming in. Going to get pretty much 3 people on the point, but the follow-up is the question. Not really going to... And the follow-up is the answer there for Fixer and Ironcrit, and that is going to be it. Finally, overtime, but a minute and a half left to go. W+M doesn't have that much time to push this all the way to 3.
You know, Firefly knew if they didn't, they were in a good position there. Whether or not they stopped them entirely, they burned that clock down to overtime, and it brought W+M1 down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. So either way, in my opinion, they came out ahead in that, regardless of whether or not it was an effective hold. But now we're seeing not many ults on either side because a lot were burned into that. So it's really going to be down to W+M1 to build up those ults because Firefly has the spawn advantage here. So it's going to come down to, you know, ult build-ups on both sides as Dragons come out from Susano.
He's going to get a big pick on an Eskimo, though, so I don't know if Corey, I'm sorry, on the other side, I don't know if Alley-Oops has that res to bring him up, which I don't believe that's going to be happening. So, there we go. Alley-Oops, there it is. My bad. Alley-Oops right there to take the res up, and Eskimo as well as Corey to bring back Susana. So we pretty much have a full team fight going on, but it's still in favor of W+M1 right now because it's a 4. There we go. One person left on the point is Hanji. To try and defend this point, 20 seconds left. W+M1 really likes to take this down to the wire because right now, 20 seconds left to go. They're on to the third point. Firefly needs to get back into this point soon. They're in the final 10 meters here left to go. Needs to get onto this point. Needs to find it fast. Trying to get on this point. Fixer the only one there in the final 5 meters. Finally, Brienne right there. Self-destruct gonna come in. Will that get anybody in the background? No, it's gonna be Fixer right there to shield his team from any damage. So, but right now it's still Firefly winning the fight right now in a 2-drop. Graviton Surge right on the point. 2 people there. Dragon Strike also going to come out. Don't know where that one went. He got Ethan. Yes, it did. It did get Ethan. That's going to come up big for Firefly right now. Or sorry, W+M1 as they push the point. Last one to try is Max Dimencio and Praxis. Praxis who's been holding the point impressively so far, but it's not going to be enough. And W+M1 again takes it down to the wire, and Firefly is going to get pushed all the way back. W+M1 with 3 points.
And you know, and you know, as we were talking about earlier, Ada on that Hanzo, I mean, more than just that Dragon Strike or Dragon Charge at the beginning of the match, been showing up well into this entire game. Sorry, on Dorado. Sorry, not Dorado. Route 66. Really able to get more than just kills with his ult. Able to knock out a lot of the tanks, break down shields, focus on the supports. A lot of communication is going well for W+M1 because they're able to sort of break open Firefly's defenses.
All right, so what from our producer, he's going to reset. So we're going to take a quick break real quick. Stick around for the Firefly attempt, as we'll be right back here on the OTC Season 5 game between W+M1 and Firefly.